we are up to my June spread, and for this month we are doing a travel theme. Hopefully by this time next year borders will be open and we can do a little bit more traveling. For anyone watching outside of Australia, Australia is actually open domestically, so we can fly interstate, but I was hoping when I was making this spread that by this time we would be open internationally, but not quite there yet, but that's okay. Still going to be a fun theme. Enjoy! Alrighty, so for this month we are starting with our quote of the month and our title page, and this month we have, for our quote, "People are more in love with the idea of love than the person they are with," from Daniel Slosh. Now, for those of you who don't know, Daniel Slosh is a fairly well-renowned comedian at this point. He is Scottish. His humour is quite crude, so if that's not your cup of tea, probably best not to watch it. He has very insightful idioms and theories and philosophies just about life. I really enjoyed his sets. I've seen him now once live, and he does have a 2-part Netflix special as well. I would highly recommend. Again, if you like crude humour, then this is definitely for you. Now for our theme this month, obviously we are doing a travel theme. Now, as I said at the start there, I was hoping that borders would be open internationally for us to be doing a little bit more travel by this time this year, but obviously that is not the case. For those of you outside of Australia, please stay safe, for one. But Australia is open for our domestic borders, so you can travel interstate, and hopefully that will boost our tourism a little bit more. Now for this month in particular, because we were doing an international kind of travel spread, I wanted to practice my Chinese. For those of you who don't know, Chinese was the second language I ever learned, Mandarin Chinese. I'm a little bit rusty now, obviously, because I don't get to practice and utilize that language as much as I would like, so it's always good to get practice in where I can. Now, for those of you that can't read the Chinese, I have just written out Monday to Sunday along the top there, and then on the right hand side that is my notes section. Now, I didn't want to do too much in terms of the background, so I really just wanted to colour in both corners and give it like a little bit of that vibrancy. This is the first time I have used stickers for all of my numbers. This is a very tedious process for anyone that is going to try it, so just be aware of that. I've seen a lot of people use tools to put the stickers on, essentially, and perhaps that is a better method that I should try out next time, but for now, just sticking with my hands. Now, I did collect a number of other stickers that I wanted to post on this page and make it look like it was one of those old-timey suitcases that had all the postage stamps and ticket stubs from places that you had been to. So that is my monthly spread, and moving on. Next up we have my habit tracker and sleep tracker. Now for this month I was up for trying something a little bit different. So on my left hand side for my habit tracker, instead of doing them individually like a mini monthly spread like I normally do, I wanted to have them all together. So I've just drawn out, listed my habits along the left hand side there. I'll flip the book in a minute so you can have a read. And just gone through and drawn out all of the individual little squares and grid for it. I'm not entirely sure if this was more or less time consuming than the way that I normally do it. I did end up liking this spread by the end of it. It was very aesthetic. But in terms of means, I'm yet to find out, so I will let you know. And just along the bottom there, I wanted to try a little bit something different, which I don't normally do because I do typically draw in all of my designs and everything by hand. But for this one, I really wanted to have like a world map in place. It did take me a little while to figure out how to measure it, but I basically just took the measurements for what was on the page and drew that in roughly where the cutout would be on the printout, and then just cut it to size from there. So for this particular month and for this spread, I have gone with a little bit more of a scrapbooky kind of vibe. Just to see how I would fare. I want to like branch out from my comfort zone and just try something new. I think it worked out quite well. Instead of using a glue stick, I've got my roll-on tape, double-sided tape in there, and it just comes in like a small whiteout kind of container, and you just roll it on like you would for whiteout. So I thought it was easier than trying to cut it all down to size originally, just to glue on the main bit and then cut around the page afterwards, as you can see there. And then onto my sleep tracker. Again, it's the same kind of layout as I have for every month, because this is in my years of doing bullet journals, this is the spread that I find works for me for this layout. And again, trying to utilize my Chinese. I didn't have enough room for the numbers to write them all in Chinese, so just did those in my typical English numbers, and then wrote the Chinese along the side and the top for my front. And then for my sticky tape, again just drawn those on. I wanted to fill in a little bit at the bottom just to give it a pop of colour. And then onto my weekly spread, I decided to put this in the middle. I do want to change up the order occasionally, so I'm not always going to have my monthly spread, habit, sleep, and mood tracker. I do try to change up the order most of the time. And again, with this weekly spread, I am trying to utilize my Chinese again, so Monday to Sunday is all written in Chinese, except for along the left hand side there is just in English, because that will be my weather tokens for the week. And I've just given myself a little bit of space on the left hand side just for some extra added notes. And then on the right hand side, I've given myself another extra little space should I want to add anything else extra. Now for my mood tracker, I did get quite creative with this one. I was very happy with the layout. I did little globes for it. This was very long to draw out by hand, but I think in the end it will look very satisfying once it's all coloured in and filled in. Getting circular shapes in a layout of this size was a little bit hard, so some of them are a little bit wonky, but once I've drawn them all in, it's not as noticeable as you might think. And then I've just got my little mood tracker key down the bottom of the page, and then onto my expense tracker, which again is exactly the same as every other month, because this is what works for me. And then last but not least, my playlist for the month. Again, keeping on that theme of like travel and old-timey kind of vibes, I wanted to have an old school records portable case player. So I hopped on Google, looked up a few designs for it, and I came across this one, which I really liked. And especially the color scheme I have going for this month, it definitely gave me those old-timey vibes. And then along the left-hand side there, you can see I've got some more Chinese, and that's just saying playlist. And now time for the flip through. Welcome back. I really hope you enjoyed this spread, and if there's any other ideas or themes that you have below that you would like to see, please comment down below, like and subscribe to this video. Thank you. Bye.
Whenever your heart is broken, don't ever forget you're golden. I will find a light in your soul.